is Bode Miller.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Winner of the 77th Lauberhorn downhill yesterday. So far in the Super Combined events this season, he was a DNF in the slalom portion of the Super Combined in Beaver Creek after leading following the downhill section. He was also a DNF in the Super G portion of the Reterom Super Combined. Going back to last year, was disqualified here in Wengen in the Super Combined, but finished third in Val d'Isère, where the men's tour goes for another Super Combi next weekend. Bode does call the Super Combined his favorite event. We know how fast he's been in downhill. The real key for him, though, will be this afternoon's one run of slalom. That's where he's been improving, but still hasn't put it all together yet. He says he feels like his equipment's really getting dialed in, and he feels the slalom coming along, feels like he's fast, but he just has to finish a race now. Down the Honigschus. Just over a minute into his run. Bode was the fastest American in training here on Thursday, finishing 17th, and then boy did he improve upon that yesterday. And look at this today. He's got the lead at the last split by 0.2 of a second. Now just has to maneuver through the S-turn in the final jump. Will Bode be our new leader here? Shaber looking on from the finish. Bode flies over the last jump and into the lead. Bode Miller back in first. Familiar territory for him in Wengen this weekend. And now our leader of the Super G standings, Bode Miller. Now Bode has won the last 2 World Cup Super Gs. He's the leader of the season standings. Although he was only 24th at the World Championships. Feels like he's skiing pretty well lately. Was 15th in the downhill here yesterday. And a couple of years ago was 5th in the Super G here in Fitiel. 2 spots behind his now retired teammate Darren Rolfs, who was 3rd. And that Super G, which was won by Austria's Hermann Mayer, who was coming up next. Bode over a half second behind at the split. Now Bode, no trouble with that gate that's already bitten several of the sport's top racers. Good line through there. Now a good performance here today and a solid one coming up later this week in World Cup Finals should clinch the Super G Globe for Bode Miller. Comes over that final big jump, last steep section on the course. Well, Bode feeling pretty confident, especially in his speed skiing lately. Also says he's feeling better with his slalom, so looking forward to the World Cup Finals in the next few days. And Bode Miller. Now this has been Bode's specialty all year long, the speed events. And we move forward in his downhill run now. Now perfect off that Russi jump, holding his tuck through the air. Well, in the Super Combined so far this year, going back to Beaver Creek in the first of the season, he led after the downhill portion, but then faltered in the slalom, the way he's faltered in slalom all season long. But he knows he's fast in the downhill. And to back that up, he leads at the split by 0.05 of a second. So he knows he's going to have a pretty good downhill run here. The question is, can he follow it up with a strong slalom this afternoon? Losing a little time, but still with the lead at the next split by 0.02 of a second. Oh, he carves a very good turn there. Bode on rails as he comes over that final jump, carrying a lot of speed to the finish line. Here comes Bode Miller. The American tucking to the line. And Bode Miller looking for first place in Norway, and he has found it. By 0.04 of a second, Bode moves up top.
on brand new skis that he had never skied on before this morning. Bode Miller, his advantage, 0.3 of a second. However, if he wants to get on the podium, was about 0.6 off of third place Chanel after the first run, so needs to make up some time here. And now, in a sense, getting his second crack at the same course. And look at this, Miller with 0.3, and he maintains it. And Miller has said many times, if you let me run a course twice, I figure out in a hurry, and I am tough to beat. So, and now we'll see if he can make good on his word. At 2,300, still has the lead, but again, Miller's gonna need, if he wants to end up on the podium, a huge lead. And look at this. Looks very balanced, much more composed than we saw him in the last giant. Saw him across the board. A little trouble there, though. But Miller running that very direct line, explaining part of the reason that you can see him getting rattled. And he moves in front of Marc Berthaud. So Bode Miller, using today it would seem as something of a test run, finds himself in the lead.
And here is Bode Miller. He's never won a World Cup downhill outside of North America. However, this past Thursday, he was the fastest American in training. He finished 17th. He's got the lead at the split by 0.3. Now Bode is the reigning downhill world champion, and he's getting ready to defend that title a few weeks from now in Sweden. Today looking for his 4th overall win of the season and the 4th downhill victory of his career. But chasing a new leader, Peter Phil of Italy. Through the Bruleyes. And Bode carries his speed well. He won the downhill in Beaver Creek, but was a DNF in the first Bormio downhill in late December. Bounced back to finish 4th in the second Bormio downhill. Split time coming up. And Bode's got the lead by almost a full second. Now working his way into the Austrian hole. Bode Miller partied in Paris over New Year's. Will he ring in 2007 with a victory in the first downhill of the new calendar year? And yes, he's in the first. Bode crashes across the line, but he's our new leader by a huge margin here in Wengen. A spectacular run by the American Bode Miller, and he launches himself into first place. They love him no matter where he goes on the planet.
Bode Miller, no matter what had happened prior to his run, would have gone all out. And he has the track record to prove it. But now Bode Miller looking for a win. Has 2 Super G wins this season. Can he make it a 3rd as he tries to approach also that benchmark set by the greatest American skier of all time? Still by the numbers, that is Phil Mayer with 27 victories. Bode Miller in the red bib now, who will get the Super G Globe, that is assured, but will he get his 26th victory and move that much closer to Phil Mayer? And now Miller, 2,200ths back. And Miller always skiing the most direct line, but a very sketchy proposition on this softer, peely snow. Oh, but a nice turn there by Miller. Oh, and beautiful. And a beautiful exit. And now he just has to continue to keep tempo with the course, not go too direct, and there gets pushed a little bit low. And now into that difficult compression turn, and Miller in touch, and a little bit sideways there, but we've seen him do that before. And over that little roller, Miller chiseling a little bit more speed, and oh, another little mistake there, but now takes the straight line to the finish. Bode Miller across the line, and not in time. So Bode Miller in fourth, but there he gets the second Super G Globe of his career. But you can see, not ready to celebrate just yet. Still smarting over some of the mistakes he made on the upper part of the course. But Bode Miller, one of the few skiers at the tail end of this race to put some pressure on the likes of Axel Lund Svindal, who gets his first Super G victory of the season. And what timing it was by Svindal, who needed the points for the race in the overall. But of course, Benjamin Reich didn't give him much wiggle room, coming in second position. So Benjamin Reich, Axel Lund Svindal will take this fight to another day. We'll come back here in Lenzerheide to wrap things up. Stick with us here on WCSN.
And here we go with Bode Miller.
Yeah, Bode, come on, brother. Hit it. Come on, Bode, yeah.
Bode with already 2 victories this season. He's the only man with more than one so far. Looking to make it back-to-back wins in the Super G following last week's terrific effort in Val Gardena. He's currently second in the season-long Super G standings. He's so far this year won the downhill at Beaver Creek and that Super G in Val Gardena from just a few days ago. Looks to be pretty smooth and fast here early in his run. Split time approaching. And Miller has the lead, and look at that, by about a half second over Peter Phil. Bode says his skis right now are exceptionally fast, and he knows he's a fast skier. He says things are going about as well right now for him as they could possibly be going, especially in the speed events. He's carving up this hill here in Hinterstoder, building on his lead now by 6/10 as he comes to the bottom. And Bode Miller is going to be our new leader here in Austria. He crosses the line into first place by a wide margin, almost by 8/10. Bode Miller continues to sizzle in Super G as he takes the lead here in Hinterstoder. And look at Bode Miller ready to go next.
Come on, Bode Miller.
Let's go, Bode.
Get after it.
Come on now.
Bode Miller, the reigning downhill world champion.
Come on, Bode.
Finished 5th in the downhill season standings last year. Won this Visa Birds of Prey downhill 2 years ago. And then last season finished 2nd to his now retired teammate Darren Ralves. Now Bode Miller yesterday had the fastest time in the downhill part of the Super Combined by a wide margin, and most believe if he skis anywhere close to the way he did in the downhill yesterday, that this is his race to lose here today in Beaver Creek. But again, worth noting, conditions are so different today than they were when Bode made his run yesterday. But he's so intimately familiar with this hill and with this run that his experience has to favor him through the poor visibility and the deteriorating conditions that we have here in Beaver Creek today. Very good through the initial part of the technical section, and there's a course worker sliding through just before Bode Miller comes down the course. Oh, what happened there? Well, Bode doesn't seem to be fazed by it, but a course worker went sliding through just before Bode came down at, I guess, about 70 miles per hour. Oh, what a tragedy that could have been. But Bode maintaining his laser-like focus. Little over a minute into his run. Split time of the leader, Didier Kushup, coming. And Bode's in front by 0.08 of a second. With that tuck, staying in the bullet-like position. Over the Golden Eagle jump. Now out of the compression he's built on his lead at the next split. Bode carrying a lot of speed to the bottom part of this course over the Harrier jump. Can he win the Visa Birds of Prey downhill for the second time in 3 years? Bode Miller over the final jump, tucking to the finish line, and Bode Miller is into the lead in Beaver Creek.
Now it's on to Bode Miller, 20th down the hill, the American, 30 years old, 6'2", 210, a champion in the past, a silver medalist at the Olympic Games, and a fast skier. His book, Go Fast, Be good, have fun. Sums it up for Bode Miller. Let's see what he's got in the tank today.
Yep, and this is his first year as an independent skier, skiing for Team America. And I just love the way Bode skis. And over the years now, and look, he's in the lead by over a half a second right now. Went to school at Carabasset Valley Academy. Started skiing at 3 years of age at Cannon Mountain in Franconia.
A nearly perfect run so far for Bode Miller out of New Hampshire.
You know, when the ABCs had the Superstar competition, 2002, he was the champion. He's a great all-around athlete, and Bode Miller is tearing it up here right now.
Let's check the split time as he's chasing Andreas Bode, and he is ahead by nearly a half a second. Bode Miller trying to shock everyone again.
Well, you know, I mean, as I said at the beginning of the show, everyone I've talked to said he is going to win a World Cup this year, maybe several of them, maybe many of them. He's skiing well.
He won in Switzerland back in January. Approaching speeds of 70 miles an hour right now as Bode Miller coming down to his final jump and the final point to the finish.
And he is the kind of guy that will give you 100% at any time. Bode Miller into the lead by almost a half a second. And you can tell that that hurts.
And here is Bode Miller.
10 seconds.
Come on, Bode, hammer down.
5, 4,
Come on, Miller. Get after it. Come on.
Bode, the defending champion, had the fastest training run of the week when he won Thursday's training session, and he just blitzed this course, won by over a second and a half, but he's already trailing at an early interval by 0.3 of a second. Bode coming up with a Hoonshoff jump, getting a little wide, sailing over that, now back into the tuck as he approaches the Canadian corner. A minute into his run. Next split for Bode, and he's almost 0.4 back. Bode with a win would match Phil Mayer with 27 wins, equaling the most ever for a U.S. Alpine racer. Through the Kiernan S, Miller settles back into the tuck now, trying to gain some time as he goes through the Wasser Station tunnel. Michael Volhofer picked up time through here a few moments ago. Now down the Honigschutz, and Bode has gained a lot of time. Now leading by almost 1.4 seconds. And he's got the fastest time on that section of the course of any racer we've seen. 147 kilometers per hour. At the final interval, he's leading by 1.16 seconds as he heads down into the Austrian hole. Bode Miller blazing down the Lauberhorn on this Sunday afternoon into the final S-turn known as Stump Alley. Bode over the last jump, and Miller at the line is into the lead by 1.3 seconds. Bode Miller, simply spectacular today on the Lauberhorn, trailing early, gaining time in the middle of the course, and then really picking it up on the bottom. The defending champion looking to go back-to-back and become only the second racer in the last 18 years to win twice on the Lauberhorn. Well, there's Bode.
Come on, Bode. Pull the trigger today, buddy.
5, 4,
Come on, Bode. Come on, Miller.
Bode Miller, the winner of the last two World Cup downhills in Bormio and in Wengen. He's never won the Hahnenkamm downhill, but a victory today would make him the single winningest racer in U.S. Alpine history, and he's got the early lead by 900ths.
And historically, Miller has been very good in this section. Hasn't shown all of his stuff in training. One of the guys that was very critical of the preparation of the track, and on the heels and up on the fencing was Miller. Skied off the fence, but that is going to crush the speed across the flats.
Not the place you want to lose the speed, but miraculously still staying on his skis, 2/10 behind at the most recent interval, and now he's dropping even more time, almost 7/10 back.
It'll be interesting to see how he responds, because now Miller in a position where he knows he has to take the ultimate risk to find his way to the top. And again, Miller never skied this track full speed in both the training runs. He really just was feeling it out, leaving it for race day and finding that speed back. Unbelievable.
Now just 2/10 out. Bode Miller, his best result here in the downhill, a 4th in the last Hahnenkamm downhill 2 years ago. Also has 2 other top 10s for his career here.